This tutorial is an overview of RemixTape, an application for constructing structured narratives around metrics. The interface of RemixTape is primarily comprised of a canvas, which you can populate with a series of scenes. Scenes in turn contain viz cards or text cards. You can add viz cards by manually selecting metrics or by accepting recommendations. We'll briefly walk through each component, beginning with the canvas. On the canvas, you can add scenes, reorder them by dragging, or remove them from the canvas. Similarly, within a scene, you can add a viz card or a text card. You can duplicate viz cards. You can reorder the cards via dragging, and you can delete them. Next, let's add some metrics to the viz cards. When you select an empty viz card and one or more metrics, you'll see candidate viz cards to the right of the metric list. Since metrics may have varying temporal granularities and date-time ranges, you can also manually specify the granularity and time range of candidate viz cards before you decide to add them to the canvas. After you add a viz card to the canvas, you can interact with them in several ways. First, you can truncate or relativize the axes, such as by converting the x-axis from an absolute date to a relative date, or indexing the y-axis to a percentage scale. Second, you can manipulate the time span of a viz card, splitting and retaining to the left or right of the cursor. You can also split the viz card into two cards. You can drag select a time span, which you can opt to either keep or exclude, and you can restore the original time span of that viz card. Third, you can obfuscate the viz card to the right of the cursor, and this can be useful for dramatic reveals. You can also pin value annotations here. Clicking in the corner of a viz card clears any annotation or obfuscation. When two adjacent viz cards are compatible, you can merge and superimpose them. Meanwhile, text cards are relatively straightforward relative to viz cards. You can add any number of text blocks to a text card and add your commentary here. Next, by enabling RemixTape's recommendations, you can see viz cards that exhibit patterns such as trends, spikes, and dips. These recommendations are refined each time you add a viz card to the canvas, so with more scenes and viz cards, you'll see a greater breadth of recommendations, such as a zoomed out time span to give your audience more context, or a zoomed in time span that exhibits some interesting pattern, like a similar pattern to those exhibited by other metrics already on the canvas. Lastly, RemixTape has a full screen presentation mode, but unlike a full screen slide presentation, the viz cards in RemixTape retain their interactivity even in presentation mode.